Good afternoon. Last night, Mr. Michael Dunkley issued a statement that has received little coverage to date in the media. He said, and I quote, "I must have received the report by email, but do not recall it." This came on the heels of Mr. Craig Cannonier referencing the report after yesterday's press conference, noting, and I quote, "Some report that existed 4 years ago." These statements came just days after Mr. Cannonier called the report fabrication, and after a legal threat was issued in a vain attempt to muzzle the media. Now, earlier today, it's been revealed that Mr. Michael Dunkley commented on the report in the Royal Gazette, September 17, 2009. The evidence is overwhelming, and it's time to tell it like it is. This is a cover-up, plain and simple. The opposition attempted to cover up the fact that they called for the use of black surrogates while hiding their real leader behind the scenes. They attempted to cover up the fact that the report called some of us downscale and less educated. And they attempted to cover up the fact that their whole reason for existence, the renaming, rebranding of the UBP, to regain power. It's no more than a desperate plan to do that. The plan is spelled out in great detail in the report, which the public now has available to them. This is a very sad tale indeed. What more will they do to perpetuate this fraud to Bermudians? If Mr. Dunkley is indeed offended by the report he said in September 2009, why have they remained silent as to whether or not the author of the report, Mr. Maurice Penzer, is still in their employ? Dr. Grant Gibbons and Glenn Smith, both now OBA politicians, have thus far refused to acknowledge whether or not they received or have seen the report. This issue should matter to every Bermudian because it speaks to the character of people who want to lead this country. Bermudians need to ask themselves what these people are really about and what else might they be hiding. In light of this exposed cover-up and yesterday's troubling press conference by Mr. Cannonier, we believe that now more than ever, Bermudians deserve to have their questions answered in a televised debate. I can report that as of this afternoon, the OBA has not responded to our notice of continued interest in a debate. The Premier remains today willing and able to debate Mr. Cannonier, and we reiterate our call to the OBA to sit down and hash out the details for a televised debate. Time is running out. Let's make it happen. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
Minister, I'm going to ask the same question I asked the other people. At a time when people are struggling with all these issues, is this the time for two political parties to be talking about debates, which is like an American theater? Is this the time for that, or should the both of you folks be more focused on the needs of the community?
My answer to that is this: the ability for leadership to clearly articulate their visions for the country is definitely something that's important to voters. Whether you're in Bermuda, America, the UK, or anywhere, it is important to articulate your vision, to articulate to those persons who you are asking to support you at the polls, at a future election, what are you going to do to change and to enhance their lives in their country. That is why a debate can be an important tool for doing that, amongst all the other things that we are required to do during an election.
Minister, you referenced the report in 2009. Mr. Dunkley's acknowledgement of this consultant's advice. What you didn't say was what he felt about it. Okay, what he said was, it's an embarrassment. He didn't take the advice, was not taken by the party. Just to be fair, isn't it fair that you would actually acknowledge that in your statement? To give the proper...
That is what he said, but what he said there is total in contradiction to what he said, which has been published within the last 24 hours.
Yeah, what he said now is that he doesn't remember.
But how can one find something offensive and then say later that you barely recall it? That's a clear contradiction of the facts, as coming from Mr. Dunkley, not from anyone else.
Well, you do acknowledge that he did say that he was embarrassed
Absolutely.
by the suggestion, the language in the report.
But he has also, within the last 24 hours, barely acknowledged its existence.
What did he say about his character that he was actually embarrassed by it?
Well, I would put that to the public to...
What do you think?
It's not for me to judge Mr. Michael Dunkley's character or the quality of it, but it's a question that I think the voters need to actually consider themselves.
Okay, I'll move on to the point. From where I sit, and it's probably not as rarefied as where the politicians sit, but from where I sit, I see these back and forths reminds me of when children on the playground. Is there a way that, I'll ask you, that this government can forget about all these insignificant accusations, insignificant public, and get on with the issues that are affecting the public?
I think the answers are clear to that, in that this is an important issue as well. This issue is about character. It is about clarity. It's about transparency. And I think that certainly it's important enough that at least 3 UBP leaders former UBP leaders, have acknowledged its existence. And it was important enough for them to answer those questions as well. But I do believe, as I said already, that this speaks to character. This speaks to clarity. It speaks to transparency of an organization that is asking the Bermudian public to support them and their vision for the future. And one has to also ask, if they are treating this as a matter that they're prepared to dismiss, what else will they dismiss? What else will they try to cover up? What else do they not want us to know? And having been in government, I know that there are great demands on you to be clear, to be transparent, and to be straight up with the public. But here we have a situation which has not been quite that way for the organization that has been brought into question about it. That's something I think the public will also take to the polls with them as they consider who to support.
How do you respond to the suggestion by some that this back and forth between the groups is really smoke and mirrors?
I don't think so. I think I've been very clear as to this is hardly smoke and mirrors. It's very clear. And the public, if you listen to other forums, have clearly decided this is an issue they want to talk about. And there is no politician, not even the media, is controlling that. That is happening in a democratic society where free speech is available and people are talking about what they want to talk about and what they believe is important in this election.
Since we talk about character, are you comfortable, or were you comfortable being in cabinet with Mr. Ferber, who left one party, came to another, and revealed the contents of what was supposed to be a confidential report?
Mr. Ferber has come to us in a very open and honest way. He has certainly presented his understandings of that report to the public in an open and honest way. He was not leader at the time that that report was articulated. And like other persons who have had some connection with the report, he has come out openly and made available to the public his own understanding of it. I think that's pretty open to me.
So would it be acceptable to you something that the PLP went to the other side with confidential information?
You have to act...
Would it be acceptable to you? That's what I'm asking.
Of course not. But Mr. Ferber has been clear as to what he believes and why he wishes to reveal what he's known. He didn't say he even was aware of the contents of the report. He just said he knew of its existence initially, and then has revealed what he understands for it to be about. But any issue as it relates to the UBP, which is no longer in existence, and whether he's violated their confidence is a matter for the UBP, as it would be for us if somebody did it to us.